Good afternoon and welcome to this month's SugarCRM user group. We're talking about opportunities and quotes today. And I usually do this, but before we get started, anyone who's not acclimated with this platform, a couple of things. One, make sure your Flash player is enabled. Justin's going to be sharing his screen and you won't be able to see anything unless you have Flash enabled. If you click it and nothing happens, check your upper menu bar, because there's sometimes a block. At least for me that happens sometimes. It'll say, oh, it blocked this download. So just make sure that's enabled. Make sure you're listening to the sound through your computer and you have it turned up so you can hear everything. And then on the bottom there, I'll go into detail at the end of Justin's presentation today about what some of those links are that you're seeing under the resources. And if you want to contact Justin or myself or Megan about anything, our bios and information are located in those widgets on the bottom of the screen. And then one last reminder as well, you can resize any of those boxes in your browser window. So if Justin's showing his screen later and things look kind of small, you can go ahead and resize that window. But in any case, we will send you the recording for this afterwards, so you will have access to that, and I will be sure to send the slide deck as well. So, our user group hosts are usually Justin and Megan, and as you can see by that lovely X that Justin has put across Megan's face, she is unfortunately not able to be with us today, so Justin is going to manhandle the situation on his own. But usually we have Megan, our sugar trainer and business analyst, and Justin, who is our sugar practice manager. So I will hand it off to you, Justin, and you can get us started.
Great, thank you, Deneen. Today we're going to talk about opportunities and quotes in SugarCRM and what the differences are between those entities within Sugar. When should you use opportunities? When should you use quotes? Should you use products associated with those opportunities and or quotes? I'm going to look at some of the technical aspects of each one and how you can generate PDFs out of each entity and how they work together and what the advantages and disadvantages of each of those are. And like Deneen said, I will be demoing some of those to you as well. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask those in the Q&A section. So just to start with the Sugar definition for opportunities and quotes, opportunities allow a user to track and sale to a client, an account. And it really tracks kind of a limited amount of information about that sale. You can track products against the opportunity, but you don't have the ability to generate PDFs or dive into some of the line item information or track your sales process down to the line item. Also, Sugar's forecasting module is based on the opportunity module. That's a key point when thinking about whether you should use opportunities or not. If you want to use the out-of-the-box forecasting, you have to use opportunities. Quotes are more designed like you would think of a standard quote you would generate out of any system or get from anybody. You have the quote information, the billing information, addresses, phone numbers, the products, the quantities. All of that good stuff is tracked at the quote level, or can be rather. People often ask me why would I want to use quotes with opportunities, and the answer is because SugarCRM is designed to use both. They both do slightly different things, and sometimes it can seem like you're doing duplicate data entry if you're using both, or it might be more complicated if you're doing both. But as I'll show you today, we can generally limit that feeling and really get a good use of the system via a number of different combinations of opportunities, quotes, and products. As I already mentioned, quotes are designed to generate a quote as opposed to just tracking an opportunity against a product. or an account. And I just mentioned that there can be a lot of duplicate data entry. You can use workflows, standard Sugar Advanced Workflows, soon to be renamed Sugar BPM, to copy data from the quote up to the opportunity level. For example, if you have a quote that's worth X dollars, you can have that copied into the likely amount field of the parent opportunity. When it's closed won, you can ask questions about why the quote became closed won, and then you can copy that data up to the opportunity level, and all of that can help with data entry as well as reporting. Again, diving into opportunities versus quotes, I already mentioned opportunities are a way for you to track a sale against a client. Some of the benefits of using a quote with products associated with it, because you can have products associated with an opportunity, but the reason you may want to use a quote are a number of them. There's a lot more robust copy functionality when you're copying a quote. It will copy forward all of the related line items and the quantities and the amounts and the discounts and the statuses on those. Quotes can have multiple groups, so you could have product groups under your quote. So group A with products A, B, and C, and group Z with products X, Y, and Z under it. You can have comment line items that intermingle with your quoted line items under the quote. And quoted line items can be ordered in a specific way so they get printed out in a specific way when you generate a PDF with your PDF manager. And calculations between quotes and related quoted line items seem to be easier and work better than calculations between opportunities and an opportunities related products. So an example of that would be summing up really anything from the child products up to the quote level. For example, the quantity or the amount of a specific type of product, services versus the actual product you have. You could have some differently up to the quote level, and that will help with reporting, of course. Also, quote modules have a number of extra fields that you would see on a quote. For example, billing and shipping accounts, contacts and addresses, taxes, tax information, things along those lines. About the only disadvantage of using quotes is that forecasting only works with opportunities, which is why we suggest using opportunities with quotes. So I'm going to talk about a number of different ways you can use opportunities, and once I talk about one way, I will demo that, and then we'll look at the next option. So for example, you can use opportunities with neither revenue line items or quoted line items. The disadvantages of this is you cannot track products on your opportunity. So there's no products at your opportunity level. At that point, your opportunity is essentially the price and the status of your opportunity related to your customer. You would have to generate a quote related to that opportunity in order to see what products are associated with that sale. This is the most basic setup because you're not entering products to the opportunity level. And opportunities can have many quotes. You could have different versions and different types of quotes related to a single opportunity that you then would close win. So when would you use a setup like this? If you do not track products and do not want to generate quotes, you could use this. If you want to track products at only the quote level, and I'll explain what each of these mean as I'm demoing.
Bear with us 1 second while it buffers, and Justin will demo what he's talking about. I think it's
all right, looks like it's all set. So here we are looking at an opportunity with no products or quotes. In this case, we're just talking about a very basic sale. I see my likely amount is $5,000. I either don't care what the product is, or maybe I just have a very limited number of products I could track in a drop-down, or even a multi-select drop-down, products A, B, C, and D here. I can track that and have really very basic information. Obviously my sales stage, which would update automatically based on the probability, forecasting, include or exclude. And that then works with the sugar forecasting module. As I mentioned, this is the most basic way to use opportunities within sugar. This is really all it is. We do have a customer that uses sugar this way. They lease out office space in one of 6 locations, so they have a very limited list of products, building A, B, C, D, E, or F. They use a drop-down to track which office location the opportunity is for, and then track the amount of the sales stage and the opportunity, or the amount, the sales, and the sales stage on that opportunity. The other way we could do opportunities without any products associated with it would be this type of opportunity, where you have an opportunity with no products where you are using quotes. So again, there's no products available down here. Up here we have very basic information. Again, I'm tracking the sales stage here at the opportunity level, as well as the likely amount. But down here you'll see I have a number of quotes. I have quote 1 and quote 2 related to this opportunity. So if I click on one of these, I come to my quote. It's related to my opportunity. It has a quote number. And I mentioned previously, quotes have a bunch of additional fields that opportunities don't have, things like purchase order number, payment terms. They also have a quote stage and valid until, as well as billing and shipping and quote settings. What's the currency, the tax rate, etc., things like that. And then you can add products to your quote. Here we see I have the TK M30 desktop, the reflective mirror widget. Quotes work really well. I mentioned you can have insert quoted line items. You can insert comments below that. You can insert groups. If I wanted to have different groups of products, I could do that. And then you can even start choosing products to add to that group. So in this way, you can build a number of really different options into your quote. Another nice thing about this is that out of the box, it will work with the PDF manager, so you can download invoices or quotes that include the products or the quoted line items associated with this quote. Out of the box, there's a template that looks pretty nice. You just have to update the logo and your information, and then you'd get your different products. We have that first product group we saw, product group 2 I added. I also mentioned you can reorder these things, move products from one group to another very easily. And it's going to print out in this order when you use the PDF manager to generate it. Last but not least, it has a pretty cool functionality for copying, where it will copy forward your quote with all of the correct line items in the correct format. So in this way, you could have different versions of your quote. And as I said, you could have workflows that copy forward your subtotals up to your parent opportunity if you wanted to reduce duplicate data entry across modules. I have a question. If using revenue line items, how would quotes associated with them? So that's a good question. If we come back up to our opportunity, right now we're not looking at a opportunity with revenue line items, but we will be looking at that in just a second, and we will cover that. For now, we need to jump back to the slide.
Okay.
Next, we're going to look at opportunities with revenue line items. Using opportunities with revenue line items allows users to add the products to an opportunity and track the sales stage on a per product basis. So what we just saw, we were tracking the sales stage and the likely amount at the opportunity level, no matter how many products were associated with the record. If you're using revenue line items, you would track the sales stage down at the product level, as well as how much they're worth, obviously, and their expected close date. And at that point, forecasting becomes based on that opportunity's revenue line items. Some of the advantages of this are that, again, I mentioned forecasting is based at the revenue line item level. So you could have one sale, a complex sale to a client with a number of different products, but each one may or may not get sold. Each one may or may not get sold at a different time frame, and you don't want to have to create a different opportunity for each time frame or each potential sale. So you can use revenue line items to track all of that separately. We already saw the product catalog dashlet at the quote level, where I could use that to add my products to the quote. You can use that at the opportunity level to add revenue line items to your opportunities. If you're using this with quotes, you can check the box next to your product, and from there generate a quote for that one specific product or a number of products. So again, I mentioned if you have complex sales, you may have items A, B, and C which you want to generate a quote for and track separately from products X, Y, and Z you want to generate a quote for and track separately. All right, we can demo this now. Here we have an opportunity with revenue line items and no quote. You'll notice I have my product catalog dashlet over here. I can add any number of products to my record, and it's going to prompt me to add all of that. Really, all I have to do is give it a quantity, and it will do the rest for me, except for required fields, of course. I could say when that's due and save that. And here you're seeing I have a different expected close date for these revenue line items. I have a different sales stage for each of these, and of course I could update these on the fly. One of them is out for proposal price quote, one's just prospecting, it has a low probability of closing, one of them has a perception analysis, and that's it. We have one customer who uses Sugar this way. They didn't want to mess with the quotes module. They just wanted to be able to enter their information here. What we did was we created a bunch of calculated fields up here in the opportunity section to sum up different things, calculating the likely amount based on the probability. They did not want to track the sales stage on a per product basis, so we added a drop down up here that tracks the sales stage globally and updates the sales stage down here. And then for generating documents or PDFs, they used a third-party product called Experido that can generate complex documents from any module in Sugar. And we actually did a user group sometime in the past where we looked at how we had set them up. But this is a way you could use just a single module and not have to worry about using the quoting module. If you did want to use quotes, you can do opportunities with revenue line items and quotes. Here we have a revenue line item, 2 of them. You'll notice we have 2 quotes. We have one quote that's associated with the mirror widgets, and we have one quote that's related to the desktops. They each have different valid untils. They have different amounts, and all of that is tracked separately. Now I could go ahead and add a stationary, or let's find a laptop here. We'll add this TKM30 desktop, and they just need 10 of those as well. I could give that an expected close date. Maybe they don't need those until the end of the year, just to polish off their budget. I could save that. And then one of the cool things I can do is I can actually click on this checkbox here for that revenue line item and generate a quote for that product. It's creating a new quote related to my opportunity. I'd still have to give it a valid until. And let's say they have to purchase before the end of November, even though they don't want them till the end of December to get this price. It's already carried forward my quantity, the unit price, any discount I would give them. I can set my stage on hold until later in the year. And I can give it a TKM30 quote. So in this way, I'm tracking my quote, a different quote for each of these revenue line items. The nice thing about this is, again, I can track the sales stage and the quote on a per product basis. I can use out-of-the-box functionality to generate quotes and invoices. Again, using out-of-the-box functionality without needing a third-party product. This is really useful if you have an incredibly complex sales process where you're selling multiple products to a company and you want to have multiple quotes against that, but you don't want to have to create multiple opportunities for each of your products. All right, go to the next slide. There is a third option where you can use something called quoted line items with your opportunities. You can add products to opportunities and track the sales stage at the parent opportunity level. That way your forecasting is done just against the opportunity and not against a bunch of products. The problems with this is that the product catalog dashlets don't work with quoted line items. You cannot create a quote from the quoted line items. And updating the product on the quote does not update the same product on the opportunity. You'd have to manually keep them both in sync. We have yet to see anyone use this option. There's just too many advantages and really no advantages to doing this over using revenue line items. And we can overcome any of the disadvantages with some simple customizations and configurations. So I'm not going to demo this one, but I did want to put it out there. Just a note, when you're converting from opportunities with revenue line items to opportunities with quoted line items, or even potentially no products associated with the opportunity, revenue line items are not converted into quoted line items. Revenue line items are lost. So you really have to be careful, and hopefully you're doing it at the very beginning of your implementation, choosing whether you want to use revenue line items or quoted line items / no product. We have a question about what options exist to allow for standard discounts via a customer class or even for a specific customer. For that, you'd have to set up a separate module to track your standard discounts for, let's say, gold, silver, and diamond partners that you would then relate to your accounts or customers. And when you're creating your quote, products, or revenue line items, you would have to use custom code to calculate the discounts based on the partner level or even the specific customer's standard discount rate, which we have done for a customer, and it wasn't overly difficult. It does require custom code, though, so we'd have to talk about your exact use cases in order to really know exactly what the level of effort for something like that would be. So in summary, everyone we've talked to has used opportunities because that's tied in with forecasting. You don't want to lose the out-of-the-box sugar forecasting functionality. You can use them with revenue line items, with quoted line items, which again, nobody's ever used opportunities with quoted line items. Or you can use the opportunities without revenue line items or quoted line items. And then you have the option of using quotes or no quotes. And then I mentioned the 3 configurations we've used down below. Opportunities with revenue line items and Expirito to generate quotes. Opportunities with no revenue line items or quoted line items, and then you use quotes to track the products. Or opportunities with no revenue line items, no quoted line items, and no quotes. Again, that's the very basic sale where you may just have 5 or 6 products, or even you don't care about the product. You just want to know the forecast, the amount you're likely to sell to that customer for this opportunity. In theory, it is possible to use quotes without opportunities. No one has ever elected to do that because they want to use forecasting. New releases and wrap-up. The big one that came out was just the Sugar Winter 19 in January 18th. There's a new field type called comment log. You could use this on cases or even opportunities. It's pretty cool. You type in a short note on your case, and it logs it down below into a read-only format with your username and timestamp of when that log was done, and then the next person comes in, types in a note, and it gets added to the log.
Very nifty.
Yeah. You can also export all types of reports to CSV file now, not just the rows and columns types report. There's a new product catalog, quick pick dashlet. We saw the old one. There's a new one that is even cooler that lets you select your recently used products as well as your favorite products. Obviously, you can now favorite your product catalog records for use with that dashlet as well. They added the product catalog on to be reporting. Let's see, we have another question. Can the discount be applied to the unit price instead of the line total? That's a good point. So opportunities, products, or opportunities, quotes, revenue line items, and quoted line items all have a number of different currency fields, totals, unit prices, standard unit price, discounted price, discount price. All of those are configured in Studio via calculations. So as long as you know which fields you're editing, you can do just about any calculations you want in there. With regards to applying a discount, if you want to automatically apply a standard discount and then give the user the ability to override that discount based on related Discount metrics, for example, I mentioned partner level. Again, that requires customization, but it is certainly possible. Good question. Back to new releases, users can now change the currency for a quoted line item, and there were a bunch of advanced workflow updates. Advanced workflows getting to be pretty powerful, and I'm pretty excited to see where they take it next, because as that gets more powerful, we'll be able to do pass more data back and forth between opportunities and quotes to reduce data entry for users. And hopefully, eventually, we could even start doing some of that discount pricing based on changes to maybe partner levels or related modules. Some other releases, unless you're a Sugar developer, you probably don't care about this first one, but I thought you might be interested in knowing that Sugar has released and maintains certified Sugar test tools, which will automatically test customizations and configurations and upgrades. They can be quite time-consuming to set up, so generally only enterprise customers use them, but they are out there. And they have also released a number of tools that just kind of help debug customization. So really they're trying to make the developer's life easier. A lot of times that's only used by partners, but it's nice to know that they're trying to help everyone out with that. There's an updated Outlook plugin that was released January 21st. It improves sync failure handling. If you don't remember from our last user group, the Outlook plugin now allows you to automatically sync all incoming and outgoing emails to Sugar, and they've been just trying to make that work better. Customer Journey plugin was updated to work with this new Sugar Winter 19 release. Hint 5.0 was released to work with Winter 19, as well as provide some cool notifications and alerts for your accounts. You can have it email you notifications. You can even allow Chrome to pop up notifications, as lots of sites are now doing. Hint version 5.01 was released shortly thereafter to fix an issue. And then the mobile SDK, or Software Development Kit, was released February 8th, which includes just some minor bug fixes. But again, the mobile SDK allows a developer to customize anything they want into the Android or iOS mobile application. So that's pretty cool. Also, if you didn't see the recent news, Sugar has a new CEO. The outgoing CEO is still the chairman of the board of directors, so he is still involved, Larry Augustine. But we have a new CEO, Craig Charlton. He is on LinkedIn if you want to look him up. And there's a full blog post you can see on the Sugar community. Just search for CEO and you will find that.
Okay, guys, if you have any other questions, toss those out now. Meanwhile, I just want to take a moment on the side of your screen there where all those resources are. Just want to run through with you real quick what those are. Those top two, the first one you'll see, CRM-friendly telephony for proactive customer service and increased sales. It's a mouthful, but basically that is next week on the 28th. I believe it's Thursday. We're going to be talking about computer telephony integration, also known as CTI, and how integrating that with your Sugar can help you work smarter. Specifically, we have Active PBX, which is a CTI company coming in, and they're going to talk about how they built a specific use case for a Sugar customer where they optimize their call center for their sales and service teams by using skills-based routing that they customized for SugarCRM. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting. That's the registration link there. I hope you'll join us for that. Our next user group is that next link. We're going to be talking about data management and enrichment. If you got value out of today's user group, I encourage you to join us for that as well. And then those three below there, those are just some of our recent how-to blog posts. We try to put those up there every once in a while when people like Justin and Megan are going through issues with customers, and it's something that they think could be beneficial for other people to know. We work together and create these quick how-tos so that you can have access to that information as well. So the two most recent ones were how to keep the Outlook plugin in the Sugar sidebar after you do an update. I know that one's a hot topic. And then using your Office 365 SMTP to send emails as if you, from your Sugar as if you were the user. And then as well, the other one is just basically best practices for user management if you're a Sugar admin. So those are our top things coming up and our top resources. In addition to that, you will see on here, we talk about the Chicago Sugar Workshop. That is coming up in May. Those of you who have been with us in the past, you know what a great event this is. It's a 3-day event. It's live. Part of it takes place at our Chicago offices. The other part will take place at the Park Ridge Country Club, which is pretty much down the street. Our Chicago offices are in Des Plaines, basically right behind the O'Hare Airport. So it's pretty convenient if you're flying in from anywhere. But day one of that event on May 14th is going to be a time for one-on-one meetings in our offices. If you have things that you want to talk about, let's say you want to meet with Megan, our customer success manager, to talk about where your product life is going. You want to talk to our CEO Sam about something. You want to talk to our sales rep. Anybody that you want to talk to and get one-on-one FaceTime with. We let you set up meetings that day with them and hash out whatever it is that you want to discuss. On the 15th, we'll have our workshop. And as I mentioned, those of you who have been with us before know it's a mishmash of all different things that will be helpful for you regarding Sugar and business in general. So, we'll have some new release information. Sugar will be there to present their roadmap for 2019. We'll also do presentations on, helpful use cases for Sugar and add-ons and things that will really enhance your experience. And then we always keynote it with a topic that we know is relative to everyone. Last year and the year before, we had some really great speakers. We had a business writer. She's a professional business writing consultant, and she did an amazing job. It was awesome. I learned so much. And then we also had the president and CEO of Walker Sands Marketing, which is one of the fastest growing businesses in Chicago, and he came in the year before that and taught us about what he's learned in his marketing journey. So, we feel that those brought a lot of value and everybody really enjoyed them, so we hope you'll come out and join us. The day after the workshop is where we do training back in our offices. That's on the 16th of May. So depending on what you want to participate in, I recommend setting aside all 3 of those days so that you can take full advantage. There will be an email that I send out to our customers on this. Otherwise, it will be promoted through our social media and our partner network, so keep an eye out for that. We're just putting some finishing touches on our registration page right now, and that'll be ready to go within the next week. So stay tuned for more information on that. Okay, if there aren't any other questions, we will wrap things up today. I'd like to thank Justin for doing an awesome presentation for us. And as I mentioned earlier in this call, I will make sure to get you guys the full recording of this as well as some specialized clips, and I will attach the PowerPoint for you as well. So thank you very much, everybody, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you, Deneen.